I'm J.M. Hirsch, editorial director at Milk Street, and today on Milk Street at Home, we are fattening up our cocktails. For today's cocktail, we're going to infuse bourbon with a blend of butter and honey using a trick called fat washing. Now, fat washing is a cool technique in which a flavorful and fatty ingredient, say such as nut butters or an oil like sesame oil, or my favorite, bacon, are steeped in a liquor, then strained out, leaving only their flavor behind. Now, this works because alcohol is able to extract both fat and water-soluble compounds. Now, those compounds flavor the alcohol in which they steep. You then freeze this mixture, which solidifies the fat, making it easy to scoop or strain them out. Then you use the resulting flavored liquor to make a cocktail. I'm going to show you how it works by showing you how to make one of the creamiest, richest, smoothest bourbon cocktails you will ever taste, the Butter Bear. We're going to start with 1 tablespoon of melted butter, which obviously is our fat. And we're going to stir into that about ½ ounce of honey. And now we will stir that until smooth. Now, you can do this with any number of fats. You know, bourbon and bacon are the classic, or you can try sesame oil and gin is fantastic. Peanut or almond butter and bourbon also go well, or a fantastic one, really, olive oil and vodka for a martini. So when you have this almost smooth, there we go. Now we're going to add our bourbon. Now, wait for it. We're going to do 4 ounces of bourbon. I know, it sounds like a boozy cocktail, and it is, but it's not as boozy as it sounds, and there's a reason for that. We are starting with 4 ounces of bourbon, but because of the straining process, which does involve some cheesecloth, we are going to lose some of that bourbon in the process of making the cocktail. So it's not quite as bad as it sounds. It's still pretty good. All right, so you're going to stir this, and just until it's smooth, and then we're going to let it sit for 5 minutes, and after 5 minutes, we're going to pop it into the freezer for another 10 minutes. And it is important to use a thin glass because you want it to chill as quickly as possible. So you can see that the butter has solidified on top of the bourbon, and that means we can go ahead and strain it out and use the bourbon to make our cocktail. So we're going to start by making some crushed ice because we are going to strain the infused bourbon through crushed ice. The reason actually is not to dilute it. The reason is to further chill and therefore solidify and strain out the butter. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a mesh cocktail strainer and we're going to line it with a couple layers of cheesecloth, just like so. And then we're going to fill it with a bit of crushed ice. Don't need a ton. There we go. And then we're going to set that over our cocktail shaker, and we're going to pour that through. And as you can see, there's our butter trapped on top of the ice. We can set that aside, and now we can go ahead and make our cocktail. So we're going to start with a tiny pinch of salt, because salt brings balance to cocktails the same way it does with food. We're going to add just a few drops of orange bitters. And then we're going to add a few ice cubes. And at this point, we are actually diluting it a little bit, but also chilling it. And put that on and give it a good shake. And we're going to strain that into a coupe glass. And that is how you fat wash bourbon with honey and butter to make a Butter Bear cocktail. Like I say, you can use any number of other fatty ingredients. Cheers.